Hey everybody, Steve Stine here. I was just letting you know I was on my way back from NAMM and I got stuck in Denver. They canceled my flight to Fargo, North Dakota, which is where I live, because the weather is not ideal out there. It's like 55 below zero or something like that. So I thought I would just take a few minutes and say hello and see if you were out there and we could chat a little bit. So if you have any questions about anything, I want to see this here. Top chat, we'll put that on there like that. And I'm going to see if I can see your comments here. Perfect. There we go. Hey, Steven. Hey, Bill. Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't even have my guitar with me. It's still on the airplane. And I went up to find out about getting my stuff, but then they said it can take up to 4 hours to get your stuff. So, hey, Jeremy. Hey, Climber. Yeah, so I just came back to the hotel. Actually, I got to hang out today. Hey, guys. Hey, Randy. I got to hang out with Dan Denley, who owns guitarzoom. So he actually lives in Denver. So he and I spent the afternoon together. So Florida says hello. Hey, how you doing, Tony? Hi, everybody. So if you have any questions for me that I can do anything for, I've got extra time to hang out right now. So hey, everybody. Hey, Bill. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Ed. Just tuned up the Les Paul. Very cool. That's great. Any chance of a collab with Marty Schwartz? Yep, it'll be happening soon. I'm actually going to be going out there sometime very soon again. I got to hang out with Marty for the afternoon and then went up and saw my buddy Griff Hamlin, if you know who Griff is. Hey, everybody. Hey, Eric. And so, yeah, I'll be doing some videos with a number of people. Certainly, I got to hang out with Tim Pierce again. We did some more videos together while I was at NAMM. And so I'm coming back in a couple of months to do some stuff with Marty. Can you lay some backing track guitar tracks for me? I might be able to. Hey, how you doing, George? I'm just hanging out. I just thought I'd say hi to everybody. Thank you, Avenging Angel. I sure do appreciate that. 80 for you? You're lucky. Actually, Denver, it's quite nice, but it's terrible at home in Fargo. Hey, Kay, you rock, Steve. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. Like I said, I certainly don't want to waste your time. I'm just hanging out doing a whole lot of nothing and thought I would go live and just hang out with you for a little while and see if you had any questions about anything. Again, I don't have my guitar. It's with the airline, so I don't have anything. I had to stop at Target and get some bath supplies and all that kind of stuff. You need help with melodies? Let's see here. Thank you for the lessons. You are so welcome. Hey, David. Hey, buddy. Hey, Jeffrey Z. How you doing? Yeah, so looking at doing some videos on melodies would be a great idea. I think that's great. You get nervous flying with your guitar. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can move those back a little bit. Now when I fly, I'll make this kind of brief so I don't waste your time, but I used to fly and I would always put it in a gig bag so I could try and get it on the plane and then get it, in either the closet or, up in the bin. And it used to stress me out so bad because I'd try and get in line right away so I could get it on. So, if you get on the plane last, you can't fit it anywhere, and then it winds up going under the plane. And in a gig bag, that's just a really dangerous thing. So last year, I was flying out to NAMM, and I was telling my horror story to someone, a buddy of mine from Line 6, and I was sitting next to him on the plane. And I said, I hate it because when I bring my road case, it weighs so much, like my actual road case probably weighs 50 pounds on its own, and then you throw a case or a guitar in there, and then lugging it around the airport and all that stuff just sucks. And he goes, you should check out these new cases, these new guitar cases made by, I forget what company makes them. They're a very common company that makes cases. And again, I can find it if you're interested and let you know. I could always post something later once this is up. But it's a very light case and it's a very strong case. And so now when I travel, I never bring the guitar on the plane with me. I always put it under the plane in this road case, and it goes on as oversized. So when I go to pick it up, I don't have to worry about it being stolen or anything. It's always in the oversized section. And I'm okay with putting it under the plane. But the nice thing is that it relieves the stress of, oh my God, I got to get to the gate first, and they got to let me on first so I can get it somewhere. I can fit it on the plane, because if it goes under the plane in a gig bag, I'm screwed. I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Let's see here. Let me go back to some other questions. So I don't get nervous flying with the guitar. I get nervous flying. I'm not a big fan of flying. I'm actually kind of terrified of maybe not flying, but dying doesn't sound very interesting to me. So I'm not. I fly because I have to, but I don't really enjoy it. Ed asked, "Have you ever done anything with the Line 6 Pod 500X? Need help with some tones?" I haven't. I used to have a pod. I think it was an XT that I had, which was back a long time ago, and I don't have that anymore. Um, I wonder, have you tried to find some user forums out there, Ed? Hey, Bonzo230, how you doing, buddy? Avenging Angel says peace and love. Ciao, see you later, bud. Hope you have a good evening. Human Tripod says thanks for the help. Love your work. I sure do appreciate that. Thank you. William says, hi, Steve. No questions. Just hoping that you get home safely. I appreciate that. I really do. And I do too. My wife and kids are at home in this crappy weather, and it would be nice to get home and see them. So let me find where I'm at here. Jay says, oh, hold on a second. I think I missed somebody here. Oh, there we go. Love your lessons. Thank you so much. Compare an AX8 with a Line 6 Helix. People kind of get into those arguments about stuff all the time. And for me, honestly, why does that keep going away? I could see myself owning one of the Axe effects for sure. The Line 6 Helix, I'm sure, is just fine. For me, it's, I think I would wind up going the Axe effects route, but I think the Helix is an amazing, device. I think a lot of people use them. Zenekin says, I love guitar, but I can't read music. That's okay. You don't have to read music if it's not what you do. Let's see here. I don't want to do that. I'm not saying reading music. Reading music's a great thing to learn how to do, like learning how to read all your notes learning all your notes on your guitar, or learning your music theory, or different things like that. I think they're all wonderful things to do, but they're all relative to what you do. If you live out in Nashville and you're doing a lot of chart reading, it's important to read music. If you play in a band that plays metal, maybe you don't need to read music as much. My whole thing with learning how to play guitar is finding what works best for you on your journey, not this generalized thing that, you should do this and then you should do this. You got to figure out what works best for you. So don't feel bad if you can't read music. If you feel like you should do it, then do it. And if you don't feel like it's something that's necessary to you, find something that is essential to your practice so you make the most progress out of it. You know what I mean? Love to see more tutorials about licks for acoustic guitar. Climber, you got it. I think that is very good. I totally agree with you. And I had a lot of time yesterday and then today on the plane. Yesterday in Anaheim, I had the day off and I got some paperwork done and came up with a bunch of different ideas for some more tutorials. And licks on acoustic, I think, is wonderful. Jay says, hey, if it's cool, I have a question. I've been playing for a while, way too long to be this bad. You can't say that about yourself. Don't do that. Need ideas where to go from here. I can play a handful of songs, but need some harder than just boring. Well, if you're looking to play harder songs, I think for me, a great place to start was learning riff-oriented songs. You start off by learning strummy kind of acoustic, chordal strong songs, and then, you move into like power chord songs. Power chord songs are really nice because it depends on the style of music that you're trying to learn how to play. But if you like rock stuff, power chords offer you palm muting and different picking techniques, things like that. And then you can always move into doing riffs. Like I grew up doing stuff like Diary of a Madman and High and Dry by Def Leppard and Iron Maiden stuff and Thin Lizzy. All that kind of stuff is what I grew up on. And they're great for learning how to do lots of cool stuff, and it keeps you interested. And back then, because I am currently 48 at the time of this video, which means I was born in 1970, those albums were really fun to play. So there weren't, discs or anything at that point. So I would learn how to play an entire side of an album because it was just easier than, doing one song and then changing the record and putting another song on. And I think that was actually quite beneficial because you'd learn how to play all of these songs all together, as best I could. I don't know that everything was certainly perfect at the time. But Jay, that's one thing I would recommend is maybe bump up. Maybe you don't learn the entire song, but learn some really fun riffs that kind of fit into where you are and you're playing at this point. Hey, Cliff. You and guitarzoom have really made a difference in my playing, Randy. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you very much. That's the whole point. That's what I love to do, so I appreciate hearing that. Hey, Lord, what's up, Steve? He says, uh, Dania, best teacher. I'm sorry if I'm brutalizing your name. Best teacher ever. Thank you. You can't even imagine all I've learned through your lessons. Thank you so much. SK. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. And thank you for watching, and thank you for just being a supporter. I appreciate that. Ed says SKB, and that's what it is. Thank you so much, Ed, for helping me. SKB was the one. So SKB makes these new travel cases. Well, they came out last year, but they work great for for putting it under the plane. I'm sure it gets abused, but every time I go to open it, it's just fine. Now the case is a little bit big for my Ibanez Jam, so what I do is I stuff all my socks and shirts wherever, so the guitar doesn't move at all. There's no movement from the guitar before I ever close the case. And then it's got the TSA locks on it and all that sort of thing. Andrew says, what is your favorite American food? My favorite American food, and what is my favorite restaurant in LA? My favorite American food is absolutely, completely pizza. Um, I love pizza. And my favorite restaurant in LA, I honestly wouldn't really be able to say which one. I tend to eat on the lower side of the food chain. I don't go out to very fancy places very often. I tend to stay pretty easy. But I love, like when I'm out in LA, I always love to get stuff like, fish tacos or authentic Mexican food. I really love that kind of stuff. So hopefully that answers your question. Kay says, love the 3 Chord 10 songs video. Good, I'm glad. Really helped to kickstart things. Good. I'm really glad to hear that. Glanderson blooper. I'm not sure what that is, but thank you, Zanakin. I just bought one for my daughter's guitar. Works well. Oh, good. One of the cases you must be referring to. You're the best one. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that so much. Tanner says, what's up, Steve? Been straight practicing your videos. Gotten so much better in the last month than I have in a year doing my own thing. That makes me feel good because that is exactly the reason I do this. So thank you. What is your go-to song for training both left and picking hand dexterity? Great question. What I do is I make left hand, I make playlists like on Spotify for my left hand, and I make playlists for my right hand. So because I'm kind of old school, I do a lot of, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer stuff for trying to warm up. I guess there's so many amazing guitar players out there right now. I don't, I love to play like newer stuff like Periphery or Monuments. If you're familiar with Monuments, I just love playing some of that stuff. And so for me, it isn't so much anymore about a left hand, right hand thing, although it used to be. I would learn a lot of Malmsteen things and stuff like that to try and kind of develop stuff. And then for my legato, I tend to just do a lot of exercises and things. But to be honest with you, the big thing for me is just finding songs that are inspiring for me. So playing Holy Wars or playing Hangar 18 or whatever it might be. I just love playing through those things. They make me feel good. And then as far as left hand goes, it's just a lot of, every day I do legato exercises when my plane's not stuck on or when my guitar's not stuck on an airplane. So hopefully that helps you. Let's see here. Jay says, simple strumming songs, maybe beginner to intermediate songs. I play Tears in Heaven, some Metallica stuff, but not fully, and things like that. So decent strength and dexterity. Yeah, if you're looking for simple strum songs, there's strumming to me, there's like lots of old school kind of rock and roll stuff that you can do too for strumming. John Mellencamp and the Eagles and the Beatles and, different kinds of things like that. And then you can get more into the power chordy stuff of the 90s, different things like that. I've just always been a riff guy. So even stuff like Smells Like Teen Spirit or Man in the Box or, if you want picking stuff that I'm thinking 90s right now, but, picking stuff, Black Hole Sun or, different kinds of Rusty Cage, different things like that. You just got to kind of screw around and see what seems to work best for you. Okay? Let's see here. I'm going to go back because I missed a bunch of your stuff. I don't want to miss anything here. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. There's so many here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm just on this little... Well, I'll do the best I can. If I miss your question, maybe just ask it again. Let's see here. Just wondering if you've heard Michelangelo Badio's tribute to Randy Rhoads. I have. I Michael's a super cool guy, and I love the way he plays, and I love his energy and his excitement about playing guitar. It's just super cool, and that tribute is really cool too. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. Thank you, Climber. Craig says you make guitar learning fun. I am so glad to hear that. Honestly, I don't just say that. I really am. You guys make me so happy that you enjoy the stuff I'm doing. Brian, I really enjoy your lessons. Thank you. Luke says, I'm having trouble incorporating chord progressions with soloing. It takes a while. The big thing is for me, the biggest thing was learning how to see the caged chording system. I don't view cage the way a lot of people do, where it's like part of a pentatonic structure. I literally view the chords, and then that way, what I do is, let's say I'm trying to see a C chord or a G chord or something. I try and look for it in different places across the guitar, and then I try and teach people how to see whatever position they know with a scale. Maybe you only know first position pentatonic or something like that, and you try and kind of see those two things overlapping each other. So you're not really doing it from a theory perspective, you're doing it from a visual perspective. And it's a nice way to get started. And even a lot of players that I know that are farther up the food chain look at their fretboards that way. I'm not going to name any names of anybody, but so we always think that it's just got to come from this theory place. And I think theory, again, don't get me wrong, I'm an advocate for theory. But I think you got to meet the information where you are. So if you can learn to see, if you've never studied caged, CAGED, I would highly recommend that you do that, at least somewhat, and kind of see how those chordal structures kind of work, and how you can superimpose both a scale shape and a chordal structure to kind of start seeing those two things at the same time. Let's see here. Best teacher on the planet, Charles, thank you so much. Zanakin says, it's hard to know where to start, honestly. Guitar is so complicated. I agree with you, honestly. That's why a path is so important. Whether you take, even if you take guitar lessons from somebody that you trust just for a while, maybe 6 months or a year or something, just to kind of get you on a plan. But when you're looking for a guitar teacher, please always, in my opinion, always look for a guitar teacher that's got your best interests at heart. It's not just learning out of a method book or something like that, but really listening to what you want and then trying to accommodate your needs. And understand that the teacher will look at you and say, okay, I know what you want. You've explained to me what you want. You can't have all that right now, but we can start here and start working our way up. And that's a good way to approach it. Guitar Man says, do you play guitar for Grim Reaper? Sometimes. Steve, the lead singer for Grim Reaper, and Steve Grimmett is his name, are very good friends. Steve was the best man at my wedding in Scotland. And Steve and I released an album called Grimstine together. And we've got another one waiting to finish up here. And so when Grim Reaper comes over to the States and they need a guitar player, then Steve will call me and I'll go do stuff with them. But oftentimes they have, they got their own stuff going. But and the band is amazing. If you know Ian Nash from Grim Reaper, Ian is just the sweetest dude on the planet, and he's just an amazing guitar player. So Joshua says, this dude is amazing. Thank you so much. Guitar lesson on money. A guitar lesson on money. I'm not sure what you mean, Mick. George says, music theory. Yeah. And all of it is good. It's just all of it. Okay. Anything that you can learn is beneficial to you. It's just learning to do it at the right time. That's the most important thing. Don't overwhelm yourself with, well, I got to learn my theory, and I got to learn speed picking, and I got to learn arpeggios, and I got to learn caged, because it just winds up being too much for most people. Have the information meet you where you are. And if you don't know where you are, that's when it's nice to have a teacher or somebody that can help you kind of develop a path. That's why I create like guitar courses and stuff like that, is because sometimes the free stuff isn't enough for you to really organize a sequential path from point A to point B. And again, you don't have to buy a guitar course if the free stuff is working. I think that's beautiful. But sometimes you need something more, okay? Carl says, love your Am I Evil video. Thank you. Yeah, that's all the stuff I grew up on, so I love that kind of stuff. Ed says, been in a band since 1990 and I can't read music either. See? That's my point. And Ed's probably a wonderful guitar player and a good dude, and he does his thing, and that's awesome. So it isn't for everybody. And if somebody tells you it's like when I used to do private lessons. I did private lessons for many years before I started this whole social media thing. And it's not about, it was never about me. It's not about look at me and watch me play. And it's about listening to the student and trying to figure out what they need, whether it's a beginner or, so the first lesson would always be, let's talk and let's figure out what you want and where you are. And then let me develop a game plan for you. That's what, a guitar lesson really should be, in my opinion. Not that my opinion's always right, but that's the way I feel. Okay. Bill says, I'm going to get Steve. Hope you're safe. Oh, I'm going to get going. See you, Bill. Hopefully you're still here. Take care. Mar1 says, Steve the Rock, the best guitar player, learned a lot of things. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Lord XS says, can you make a video that explains how to operate an amp? Yeah, I should have I got acoustic licks, how to operate an amp. Yeah, I should have had a pencil here so I could write these down. As a matter of fact, there we go. Give me a second here. Acoustic licks. Operate an amp. This is perfect. Thank you. Let me see here. Whoa, hold on a second. I lost my way again. I'm gonna try and get to your stuff. There's just a lot of things here, so I'm trying. So I apologize. Really love your courses. Thank you so much. Hope from London, England. Awesome. Thank you to all of you. Joe says, I have an SKB golf travel case. That's awesome. Hey, Scott. Scott says, oh, you're too nice, Scott. Steven says, pizza. Clymer says, pizza rules. That's awesome. Let's see. Just watched the movie about A minor pentatonic scale from you. Thank you. You are so welcome. And I'm not trying to rush everybody. I wish I could talk to each of you for forever, but I don't want to waste everybody's time here too. Have I ever heard of orange wood guitars? I haven't. I should look into them. What is the best time to practice? Any particular time? Stuff you want video says. For me, what I do is the first thing I do when I get up in the morning. Now I have time to do this. I've built it into my schedule. But the first thing I do when I get out of bed and I sit down and I watch a little TV and get my kids off to school, I do legato exercises. That's the first thing I do. So I sit and I'll just practice legato exercises while I'm just sitting there trying to get going for the day, drink some coffee, do my legato exercises. Then I'll start doing some picking exercises. And that's kind of how I do it. And I don't do it for any particular amount of time. I just try and get the blood circulating and just get things going a little bit. And then I usually, get ready and all that sort of thing. And then I'll go down and then I try and jam to some songs. I'll jam to, like we were talking about before, I'll jam to some old school songs that just kind of get me going. And then I'll usually jam to some improv stuff to kind of get me in the space I need to be for the day, depending on what I'm going to record. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Teach Dust in the Wind. I actually have videos on Dust in the Wind. If you look up Steve Stine, Dust in the Wind, you should find them. There should be a part 1 and a part 2 to Dust in the Wind. Tammy, you are awesome. Peter says, hi, greetings from Canada. Greetings from Denver, Colorado at the moment. Let's see here. Alan Black says, part of Dust in the Wind is on his course. Play acoustic now? Yeah, along with, thank you. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. Yay, Steve. Hey, Kelly. So nice to see you. And I don't know if you're still here. I know it's taken a while for me to get to all of these. Okay, can't wait to dig deeper into your lessons. Thank you, Stephen. Hey, Quentin. Do I ever play drop D or lower? Yes, I do. I love drop B, as a matter of fact. Drop B, B flat. I've got a Paul Reed Smith that I've got tuned down there. And hopefully I'll have an album coming out this year. Can I say album? Should I say something else? Record? I don't know what I should say. But and it'll have stuff on there that's lower. I love writing in those keys. It just puts me in a different space in my brain. So yeah, I love those kind of tunings. Jim says, I got blisters on my fingers. I know what that's like. Okay, Steve likes Periphery. Oh, awesome, for sure. Yeah, I'm a metal guy. I shouldn't even say that. I love so many things. One of my favorite guitar players is a gentleman by the name of Tommy Emmanuel, if you know who Tommy is. He's an acoustic guitar player. I go all over the place. I can listen to jazz, I can listen to classical, I can listen to rock, I can listen to metal. Plini, I'm a big fan of like Plini stuff, or Jason Richardson. there's just a lot of those guys out there that I think are absolutely incredible. Mateus Asado, if you guys know who Mateus is, just wonderful stuff. What is the best time to practice? I think I just answered that, buddy, but maybe I'm back too far here. But any particular time for me, it's throughout the day. But one of the most important times for me is in the morning. I've learned so much from your videos, and now I'm getting laid. Well, gee, I guess I thank you for that, or I'll say you're welcome. That's great. David says, thanks for the encouragement. That's awesome. Thank you. I can't play for you, Tammy. I don't even have my guitar. It's when your flight gets canceled, they take all of your stuff, which is all of my stuff. I had to go to Target and buy just a toothbrush and things like that. And they put it in a safety place that you can't get to. And then when I fly out tomorrow, they'll put it back on that plane. Now I could wait it around, but they said it takes up to 4 hours to get my stuff. So I am without a guitar. I wish I could play for you, but I do not have one. Periphery is awesome. Wish I could play it. Yeah, it is. It is. And there's so many bands out there that are just amazing. It's funny because for the longest time, people were saying rock is dying and people don't play guitar anymore. And I'm telling you, those people are looking in the wrong place, because all you are playing, there's just as many players as there's ever been. And there's just as much wonderful music out there if you know where to look. If you're listening to the radio, you're probably not hearing it, right? But there's lots of great stuff out there. Can you do some AC/DC solo lessons? AC/DC solo lessons. Bad Boy Boogie. Sure I can. That'd be great. Okay, let's keep going. Hey, bro. Hey, how you doing? Rage Against the Machine. Ooh, that would be fun. I love Rage Against the Machine. Old man here, just learning, but just the smile on my face when you hear a sweet sound from my guitar. That's the way it should be, Mike. Jim says, but the arthritis, I've got arthritis as well. And then living in North Dakota, where it gets extremely cold in the wintertime and extremely humid in the summertime, really sucks. So I have to be really careful how much caffeine I drink. I drink a lot of water. And then I take ibuprofen certainly when I've got big recording things happening, or jams that are really important, that sort of thing, then I got to be a little careful with that. Okay, Kelly Mortensen went to Metallica in Raleigh last night. Oh, that's awesome. Drone light show and all, very cool. Guitar Hero still exists. Thanks, Steve. You are most welcome, and they do. You bet. What are you doing in Denver? I got stuck here. I got stuck in Denver. I was on my way from Anaheim. I went to the NAMM convention, and they canceled all flights to Fargo, North Dakota because of the weather. So I'm stuck in Denver for the evening and possibly 2 evenings, depending on if I can get out tomorrow or not. Play guitar while on the plane? As a matter of fact, Vic, give me just a second here. I'll show you what I use on the plane. Now I got to try and get the text back or the chat back, but I use this thing. It's called a Shredneck. That's what I use on the plane. Okay? So when I'm sitting there on the plane, I mean, it probably weirds people out because it kind of looks like a gun, I suppose, in its little case. But this is what I use. Now, all I do with this is I don't use my picking hand at all with this. I've never really done that. I just do a lot of legato exercises with this thing. That's what I do. Scott says he's going to see Tesla in Atlanta. That's awesome. Thanks for the guitar video education. You are most welcome. Cheers, Steve. Cheers to you. Never impeached. I'm not sure Steve will never be impeached. Thank you for keeping you inspired, Keith. That's awesome to hear. Candlebox. Wow, that's a good one. Candlebox. That's cool. Arturo says, do I play classical stuff? I do not. I wish I did. I took some classical lessons while I was in college, and but not enough to be any good at it. And I love it though. Like there are players that I just love to watch. I just find that there's just not enough time in the day to do all the things that I want to do, even just in my world. But yeah, I do love classical. Somebody's fixing something outside my door. Save Your Love, Great White. Ooh, good job, Scott. Save Your Love, Great White. That's a good one. I'd like to know the company that makes the case. It's SKB. That's what it is, Chris. It's SKB. That's what it was. I'm looking over like it's here. It's not here. But it is SKB. I'm positive. Rural says, love your stuff, buddy. You taught me a lot about pentatonic. That's great. Rock will never die. I agree. Would love help learning to keep time count. Can you recommend a lesson? For keeping time. You know, one thing that you could do is look up some information from me. Now, I'm not sure if you mean for strumming, Climber 7565. I'm not sure if you mean for rhythm or if you mean for lead. If you mean lead, you should look up a video lesson of mine. Just look up Steve Stine and then look up meandering and see if that might be able to help you. If it's on strumming, yeah, I don't know. I've got so many videos out there. I'm not exactly sure. King Bob Jr. says Alex Lifeson is very underrated. 1,000,000%. I totally agree with you. Gary says, I love the stuff you're doing with Tim Pierce. That's awesome. I've got new stuff coming. I was at Tim's house on Sunday, and we recorded a bunch of new videos together, and they will be out sometime in the near future. Let's see. Do you like Steel Panther? I met Tommy recently. He's a beautiful acoustic player. Yeah. I mean, I don't listen to their stuff that much, but all the guys in Steel Panther, are old school rockers, you know, that just found a niche to do their thing, and it's very popular. But they're great players, you know, just great players. But no, I don't listen to it that much, but it's not because I don't care for it or anything. It's just not really on my radar. Tim says, love Tommy and Mateus. I do too. Alex Lifeson. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I get inspired by so many players. What's so great for me for social media is the fact that I can just jump online, and whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is, and just see amazing guitar players. Doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what style, and it inspires me to want to play. There's not a day that goes by I don't play, unless my guitar is stuck on a plane somewhere. Let's see here. Keep going and helping beginning guitarists like me. I will. I promise I will. And thank you so much for your support. Thoughts on the Agile 3110? I don't have any thoughts. I'd have to, let me look that up. Agile 3110. I'll have to look that up and see what that is. Thomas says, how's my daughter? Well, I have two daughters, my 18-year-old and my 10-year-old, and they're both doing well, although I haven't seen them in almost 10 days now, so it'd be nice to get home and hang out with everybody. I'm going to take my glasses off for a while so I can see a little bit better. Love your solo. I don't even have my contact lenses. They're all in my stuff. Love your solo video. Helped me out in a lot of ways. Got me out of a rut. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you from England. It's not freezing in Denver, as a matter of fact. It's actually, I think it was like 50 degrees today or something here. So definitely better here. Let's see here. Please share a refresher on how to identify what key a song is in. The biggest thing is learning, which I've got videos out there to help you with that, but learning the fundamental 6 chords that come from a key, right? So, there's the rules change in music. There's never just one rule. But a fairly easy way is if you see like 3 major chords, those chords have to be constructed in a certain way in the logical world. Again, if you talk about illogical, then you can do anything. The rules are gone. But if you're trying to learn how to do something, it's always nice to exist in the logical world, because then things make sense. So, for instance, learning that a 1 chord and a 4 chord and a 5 chord are all major, and the 2, 3, 6 are all minor. And if you do a search for my name and you look up like chord theory or scale theory, you're going to find stuff on that that's going to be able to help you with exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Do you know Klaus from Guitar Mastery? No. I know Charlie, if that's the one you're talking about. I know Charlie. I met all the guys this weekend at NAMM, but if you're talking about Charlie, I know Charlie. Well, I shouldn't say I know. It's not like we hang out, but I've met him and I've talked to him a few times. Some Satchel lessons. Satchel's got his own lessons, but sure, I'll write that down, which are really fun to watch, as a matter of fact. Let's see here. Bear says, thank you so much. You are so welcome. Okay, awesome. So everybody, I'm going to try and go down just to the bottom here. And I'm so sorry if I didn't get to everybody's, but Hi, everybody. You're inspirational. Thank you so much. You guys are just way too kind. Hey, Steve, do you do private lessons? I only do a couple of spots. I think I do 4 lessons right now a month is all I do, and that's it. Just because I have so many other things going on, but I do still enjoy doing the lesson thing. So I only have 4 lessons that I do every month for private lessons. And if you were interested in that, I have a very long waiting list. But if you're interested in that, you can always go to stineguitarlessons.com and you can get signed up over there. And then I'll do what I can. It's just really hard. You see better without those glasses in your way. Yeah. Well, yeah, because the phone's so close. So getting old sucks. Anyway, so it looks like I got everything. What was the best thing? Okay, happy NAMM 2019 to you too. What was the best thing I saw at NAMM? To be honest, it was the people. Okay, but if we took the people out of there, because we had this, I don't know if you guys saw it, but we had this YouTube gathering of all the YouTubers from Rick Beato to Tim Pierce to Justin Sandercore to Marty Schwartz and me and Brett Papa and just everybody was there. It was insane. And yeah, it was just insane. But if I took that out of there, I think the gear, I always get excited about like guitars. So I go to Ibanez and I go to all the different guitar brands and look at stuff. And I think I've got a new Ibanez that I'm going to be looking at getting this year for 2019. I haven't bought a new guitar in a while. I bought a new Paul Reed Smith, but a new Ibanez I haven't done for a while. Chord chasing, sorry about that. I'll just keep going a little bit. We've got a few things. Hey, Earl, thank you so much. Thoughts on going to school for music later in life? Thoughts on going to school for music. I think going to school for music is really good as long as you understand that it doesn't guarantee you anything other than financial responsibility, right? And I'm not saying that it's bad. My daughter's going to school. I went to college for music, but I never pursued the music degree to become now I did become a professor, okay? But that isn't what my life wound up being, was teaching at a college for the rest of my life. I had other things that I wanted to do. So the best thing about college for me was the relationships, the people that I met that I still run into. Like if you're familiar with Sweetwater, where you can buy all kinds of gear, there's a gentleman over there by the name of Mitch that he and I went to college together. And just those kinds of things are what's kind of amazing to me. But there's trade schools that you can go to. The coolest amp I saw at NAMM, I'll go back to chord chasing in just a second. The coolest amp I saw at NAMM was probably one of the new Rev amps. Was really cool. The new Metzabarba Trinity amp was freaking amazing. I own a Metzabarba. And then, of course, the Black Spirit 200 by Hughes and Kentner it's just such a practical guitar for today's gigging, practicing, rehearsing, recording guitar, player. It just has everything that you need all in one bundle, which is just amazing. I think those, for the most part, I didn't even get to the Marshall booth. I was so busy that I didn't even really I got to second floor. I went up to the Paul Reed Smith booth for like 5 minutes with Tim Pierce, because he's a Paul Reed Smith player. And then I was up there with my buddy from DW Drums. I was hanging out with him for a while. Otherwise, there's just a lot I didn't get to because I didn't get a lot of time to just walk around, unfortunately. But that's kind of the way it goes. And that's okay. I mean, I'm really there to see people. That's my big thing. Scott says, congrats on the house. It looks great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Ibanez, love Justin. Me too, man. Justin, they're all great guys. They're all super great guys. And that's what's fun, is just this camaraderie that we have. So, like I said, in a couple months, I'll head down to Marty Schwartz's again, do some video down there, head to Tim's house, do some video there. I've got some other shoots to do as well. And it's just fun. It's fun to hang out with everybody and go out for lunch. And yeah, it's just great. What are your thoughts on picking up a guitar later in life, starting at age 45 and finding it very challenging? Well, the big thing is when you're the thing about being older is that you oftentimes just don't have the time that you did when you were 15. You know what I mean? So you don't get to practice 6 hours a day or anything like that because you've got a life and a career and family oftentimes and all these things that you're trying to do. So again, the most important thing I think is getting yourself organized so you're not wasting time. Find what's most practical for your journey, for where you are. And sometimes you need someone to help you. It's hard to do that on your own. That's kind of the thing. Whether it's through content, courses that I create, or through maybe it's a local teacher that you find or something like that. But finding a path that helps you to reach goals and being realistic. I'm 45. I'm not going to go become an astronaut at age 45. I'm just not. Okay. But that doesn't mean I can't study, astronomy, or I can't, there's lots of other things I could do. So, and I am not saying that negatively at all. So please don't take it that way. I just think the more realistic we all are about who we are, the time we have, and how much we're willing to commit to that, the easier it is to try and kind of figure that out. You know what I mean? So anyway, hopefully that helps you. I have an Ibanez Premium myself. Yeah. Yeah, I like those premiums. I think they're pretty awesome. So I picked up a guitar after a 30-year break and it all came back. See, that's great, man. That's awesome. Oh yeah, chord changing. Sorry. Chord chasing to me is when chords are being played, you're cognizant of that chord and you're trying to do things relative to that chord. So if it's a G chord, you're doing things in the world of G, right? Maybe you're playing a G major scale or the G major triad or something like that. And when the C chord comes up, maybe you don't just stay in the key of G, but you actually follow that chord. You chase that chord. So you switch to the key of C or C mixolydian or something like that. Again, you've got to have time, right? If the chords are changing fast, you can't do all of that. But if you've got time on each chord, you can devote specific ideas to each individual chord. If you don't have time, then that's where triads and things become really important. Is as the C comes, you're trying to find ways to, again, it's just kind of common sense to melody, really. But so when the C chord comes up, you're not just playing through the scale, but you're really thinking about the notes of the C chord or chordal extensions. For instance, maybe you're thinking about the major 7 or something like that. Or the 9th or something like that you might be focusing on. But chord chasing really is kind of literally chasing the chords around as they go. Let's see here. Learning lead technique, best way to go from walking to running, developing essential skills like 4-note sequences, 3-note sequences, just over and over and over doing these things, developing that synchronization to get your hands working together. Synchronization, strength, and stamina. Those are the 3 things I always tell people. Because synchronization between your 2 hands at any speed is absolutely crucial. They've got to understand where each other's going. I'm doing this with my hands, but you can't see me. Strength, lots of legato, lots of speed picking on its own without your left hand. Just picking, developing these techniques on their own, developing that strength. And then stamina, being able to do these things for longer periods of time. Because if you do a lot of legato stuff, you'll find that your hands start getting tired and things like that. You want to develop a lot of stamina so you can play faster for longer periods of time. Okay, what's a good way to transition between chords? That would be the answer of chord chasing, in my opinion. That helps out a lot with that. Okay, so am I a tone chaser? No, I'm not. I'm not a gear junkie on any level. I get how I could have been or I could be, but for me, it's never. I'm fine with what I got. I play the guitar, I play Ibanez stuff, and EMG pickups, and I can kind of plug into anything and make something work. If I plug into an amp that's less high gain, I play it differently. If I plug into an amp that's clean, I play differently. If I play into an amp that's high gain, then I do my normal thing. So. But I'm not really a tone chaser. I'm cool with just about anything out there. Honestly, I've owned a lot of different amps, and I'm not a, so to speak, tone snob, and I don't mean that negatively. I absolutely commend some of these guys out there that are just, that really know their tones, and they have lots of pedals and different things like that and different amps. I think that's wonderful. It's just never been in my wheelhouse. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to that sort of thing. Okay, so everybody, I'm so sorry I got to get going, but it's been almost an hour here and I got to go get some lunch. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And again, as always, stay positive, okay? Take care of yourself and stay positive with your practice. And we'll talk to you very, very soon.